Hello and welcome to the Angry Sniper. We have got some 4.0 changes. So, I want to know what they are. I've already looked at them, had a couple of goes at recording this, so starting again. First thing, which is very, very important to say, this is data mined information. It has not been released by Bioware. They haven't released any information. 4.0 is still slated for the 27th or the 20th of October if you've early access or whatever, you know. So we're still several months out from actually getting it. Everything could possibly change in terms of specs and what you see. That's so important to remember. Don't go overboard with anything. You know, you've got to take everything with a pinch of salt. So, excuse me, sorry. I'm going to just skip past operative because I'm not really interested in operative. Here's straight away. Alright. Sniper changes. All specs. This is the new skill which we get. It's on the screen so you can read it for yourself, but it immediately finishes the active cooldown on evasion, countermeasures, shield probe, cover pulse, entrench, and covered escape on a 3-minute cooldown. Let that sink in a minute. Now, in comparison, let's go up and have a look to see what the operative gets. There we go. There it is. Supercharge your stealth generator, quickly moving you to a friendly or enemy target and increasing your movement speed by 75% for 3 seconds. Does not break stealth, and they can't use it to jump to a spell swing cover. 45-second cooldown. Now, from what I have seen, on this site you've also got the Juggernauts Marauder ones. I'm not going to go to... okay. Agent. Here we are. Knight warrior changes. So base class change. So I'm guessing Juggernauts and Marauders get this. Mad Dash. Have a look at that. Okay. And I've heard some other information about what the Zorks are getting on the Star Wars forums. Haven't seen any links to that, so yes, pass on that. But it does look like the basic aim of the skills they're giving us is to improve mobility for all specs, for all classes. But here's the problem. They are essentially giving us the engineering resets that they took away in 3.0. So it's nice to see they are thinking about giving them back to us. I'm pleased about that. I haven't got a problem with that. But the reason why those resets worked for engineering prior to 3.0 is covered escape on a 1-minute cooldown reset. Alright? Now, classes are much more mobile because they have got a lot more CC immunity in today's environment post 3.0 than they had before. If you had that amount of immunity to our CC skills in 2.0 to 2.10, whilst we had the covered escape reset, we still would have found it useful. It still would have been highly useful, do not get me wrong. But the effectiveness of having that reset, that is what I've got a problem with. It just wouldn't be as effective. So ignoring about, that awesome skill operatives look like they're getting, because it does look pretty good. Getting a reset on covered escape with all that sort of thing in mind is kind of it doesn't sound that great. Countermeasures, that's going to be useful, I guess, for PvE. PvPers aren't going to use that, trust me. Whether you're marksman, virulence, engineering, it doesn't matter. You're not going to use that. So PvP, you can just ignore it. That's the way I think about it. Shield probe. Well, shield probe basically absorbs enough damage that it can go in one global cooldown. So in the space of 2 global cooldowns, that's it. Shield probe and the reset shield probe is gone. So it's going to help. I'm not saying it's not going to help. That's the thing about all of these. All of this is going to help. I'm thinking of the way I used to use covered escape, entrench, shield probe. Let me pause. Yeah. Oh, never mind. Shield probe, entrench, and covered escape. Those are the skills I'm used to. I have played that a lot when engineering had those. So I know what it's like to use these. People who haven't, or tried engineering and couldn't get the hang of it, you'll have to take my word for it in that respect. The trick in when we had in engineering was you had to make a choice between entrench and covered escape. You either had to kind of reset it to use covered escape, with the prospect of, well, I haven't used entrench yet, so I'm going to lose the potential reset on entrench, or vice versa. You've used your entrench, you haven't used covered escape, and you want to use it again. It means you're not going to get the reset on covered escape. It was a choice between those two. Shield probe, you just kind of, that was a bonus. Those were the 2 key things we used the EMP discharge for. So when it comes to using these, you're going to have a choice of evasion, shield, well, okay, as I said, that's a bonus. Evasion, cover pulse, entrench, and covered escape. That's going to be your choices. Now, the more experienced engineering snipers back in the day will remember that if you used your defenses well enough, you would be able to make it so you use entrench and covered escape, and you would still have that benefit. So that is where the skill for this particular skill is going to be. It's going to be on the people who use all of these, minus countermeasures of course, in such a way so that when you reset, you get the maximum amount of benefit for each and every single one of these. The problem is kind of cover pulse. Cover pulse is nice. I like cover pulse, don't get me wrong. But there's a lot of immunity to knockbacks and so forth. So its effectiveness at the moment is limited. You've got to be so careful when you use cover pulse. So yes, I guess for those who accidentally use it when, oh, bugger, I've just used cover pulse, I haven't got it for another 30 seconds or whatever the cooldown is. And because I was an idiot, I used it when they were immune to it. Yes, resetting is going to be helpful. But you're not going to want to do that. For those who actually know what they're doing, who don't make that mistake, it means there's a window which you cannot use cover pulse. I guess that's when you've got to use shield probe, evasion, and covered escape and that sort of thing. You've got to work around that. But I think about having to do that in today's environment. Yes, it can be done. Yes, there's going to be a bit of skill to it. Every single class, marksman, virulence, engineering, but we're all going to have to get used to this. We're all going to have to learn it. It's going to change the way we play in that sense. Trust me, it's having to be set on that will it does change things, and it is definitely going to help. But the problem, as I see, is why I'm not so sure about it is all the extra mobility with skills such as this on a 45-second cooldown. That 3-minute cooldown is just too long. But that is a lot of resets. if you put that down to 3 minutes, to, I don't say 1 minute, people would, whoa, 1 minute? Are you crazy? It's kind of, there'd be so much of an outcry. It's 3 minutes for all those resets is probably right. The problem is evasion and shield probe, both resets together, say, and I'm being conservative here, that's only about 10 seconds worth of benefits you are getting from those. 10, 15, I don't know, it's depends how long the shield probe takes to get used up, So, yes, it's going to help a burst situation for, like, that 10 seconds or 10, 15 seconds. But you've used your cooldown. Then, now all you've got is cover pulse, entrench, and covered escape. Now, covered escape will mean you'll be able to move away, and entrench speaks for itself, it's we can't be knocked back or forced, choked, or pushed, pulled, or anything else, so cover pulse is kind of going to be very situational. There's a lot of occasions where it's just not use. So it boils down to, in essence, covered escape, the use of covered escape. So with all the extra mobility, I like it. I desperately want for engineering those two resets more than anything else. Or if I'm completely honest, it's just that reset I'm really after, But on a 3-minute cooldown with skills such as that, I'm just not convinced. But let's take a look. I have got misgivings about this. It's nice that they're thinking about it, but these are the utilities. Re-established range. That is a must-have for all marksmen and engineering snipers. You just get it. It's it's just needed. But they're changing it to masterful. When I think about some of the other skills other classes have got at skillful, it's kind of, why are they moving that up? We can't not get that, especially with all the mobility. That's going to become an even more important skill. And then calculated pursuit, they're moving it from masterful to skillful. Obviously to make room for that. Now, I know and I understand and I appreciate some people like calculated pursuit. They've worked it into their utility setup and they find it useful. That's great for them. But for me, in order to get the benefit of that, you've got to be out of cover. Now, a sniper out of cover is in dangerous territory. You've got to move around carefully. Anybody playing a sniper knows precisely what I mean. And if they are increasing mobility to the extent like that, every class is getting their version of being mobile, that is just going to make moving around for snipers much more difficult. Which then goes back to the mobility thing for snipers. They're going to have to buff covered escape, because I'm not convinced, in all honesty, all of these, including entrenched, to be quite honest, because let's not forget, entrenched doesn't stop damage. It just prevents people from, it gives us protection from being knocked out of cover and being completely useless. It is. So that's not going to stop people from, that's not going to mitigate damage. Neither is that, to be honest. With all their mobility, it's very easy. People have boot breakers, and they've got all manner of skills to break our boots. So, yeah. So, I'm not convinced. I'm open to kind of, if things change, I'm open to kind of trying it out and so forth. But no, it's not for me. This is a new one. Pulse screen. You read it yourself. The problem is 20%. That's too low. I won't be choosing this if this stays in like this because well, cover pulse is once every 30 seconds. I know you can reduce it by 5 seconds or something like that, you know, with a utility, which nobody will probably use anymore. But that means we only get 20% chance of persisting this for 6 seconds. That's too random. You can't turn around and say it's useless because it's not. You have got a 20% chance, and that 20% chance could come into kind of, yes, it's kicked in, fantastic. I'm going to go on a rampage and kill everybody, you know. But it's only 20% of the time. So that's kind of, yeah. This one could be interesting. You know, for the life of me, I cannot remember. Did they remove the cooldown of Shatter Shot? I can't remember. Was it still 11 seconds, 10 seconds? Pass. That could be nice. But bearing in mind, this is on the Masterful tier. And we've got re-established range. So I can't play without that. I need that, you know. I could play without it. It's just, it'll make life a lot more difficult. I believe engineering and marksman need that, so that's a given. That's one of the things we'll choose. We also need seek cover. Because believe it or not, seek cover does what this fails to do. Covered escape, compared to what having a reset on covered escape, compared to something like that, is not. They obviously do not want snipers to be that mobile compared to everybody else. The problem is they are making everybody else far more mobile than snipers could potentially counter. It's going to be much more harder. just thinking about this, it's kind of, bearing in mind that's not. They've still got their double roll. No, so it's like 30-meter range. They can like jump to a friendly or enemy player. Then they've got 2 more. So that's like what 52 meters or 50 odd meters, something like that. And bloody range, movement, distance they can do in a very short space of time. Snipers are going to find it very difficult to kill operatives like that. It's yeah. Moving on. This is going to be this is nice. It reduces it by 30 seconds, so that means this will be 2 minutes 30. Again, even at 2 minutes 30 it's not so much kind of, but it is. I don't know. It's the build test will be playing it. But if they don't make many changes to this, say they are actually happy with this, and I don't know, say operatives get something like this. Say it's say they just keep that bit, the 30 meters, and that, and just and get rid of the movement speeds, but you know, increase it out for 75%. You get what I mean. Say they kind of make a few changes, but the essence of what these other mobility skills like this do, this is not a mobility buff. This is a defensive buff. Snipers are still going to be quite immobile compared to everybody else, which brings us into something else. There's so many different aspects. I'm just not convinced. And then look at this. I'm going to do virulence first because I just don't know the spec, and I've got no idea, honestly, whether this is good or bad. But yeah, weakening blast deals 5% more damage, and corrosive grenades has 10% chance to deal its damage twice, whether it harms the target. At level 64, so this is the new passive skill they get. Okay, fine. I can't comment on it because I just don't know it. This is interesting. Field command increases the critical chance of your area attacks by 15%. Now that's actually nice. I do like that. But they're increasing mobility. This is going to affect plasma probe, orbital strike, suppressive fire. Those are the 3 AoE skills the engineering spec can drop. And it is going to make all 3 of those nice, and that's not a problem. But in order for those to be effective, people have to be standing inside within that AoE. Now, the only way I can think of that being useful, and in one respect, it might give engineering a bit more of a defensive buff, because if, say, you've got entrenchship, and you've got your plasma probe down, you've got your orbital strike down, and suppressive fire, with that particular skill, it should give out some nice damage. So is that going to be enough to counter kind of, if people are more mobile, they're going to be able to get to us that much more often. You know? So in that respect, it's, if you put it on yourself, you'll be able to get the benefit. If you do not put it on yourself, say you're trying to get people to stick within your plasma probe, good luck. By increasing the mobility of all classes, they are indirectly nerfing plasma probe. And that is dangerous, because if, say, in 2, 3, 4 months' time, they realise they've got to make a change to plasma probe, they could potentially change plasma probe in a way that means it is no longer useful for node denial, and that is my concern about that. I do not want that to happen. That is an important part of engineering. The entire play style for regular war zones. But we haven't come to that yet. So yeah. Yeah. This is going to be nice for when you're stacking AoE on yourself, but that's the only way I can see this being useful, because everyone else is just so much more mobile. So trying to get, unless they buff our AoE to make people stay within it, how exactly is this going to help us a great deal? This one, on the other hand, compared to this, bearing in mind, for a level 64 skill, and I'm guessing at level 65, that is when we get another utility point or something like that. That's my guess, This is only going to help us some of the time. This is going to help marksmen all the time. And for me, again, that is dangerous. Dangerous in a sense that it's making marksmen even better. Better in terms of engineering and virulence. It's widening the gap between those 2 specs and that spec. And I've made it no secret, I haven't got anything against marksmen, because there was a point in time when they weren't that good, but I dislike strongly that people see marksman as being the only real way to go. If you want to have a good if you want to be effective, if you want to be able to kill people bursty and so forth, then you go marksman. It's the one you'll have the most effectiveness of. And I just don't like that. This brings me to something else. There's been an awful lot of discussion about snipers need a buff, and every single time, say snipers are fine, snipers are great. And, I've gone in and challenged them. Do you mean snipers or do you mean marksmen? Because don't turn around and say snipers are fine, because engineering and virulence do need some buffs. And they say, well, of course I'm on about the marksman, and that's my point. Of course I mean marksman. Is people are concerned about marksmen being buffed, and this is exactly what people do not want. And a lot of people do not like snipers. So this is something I firmly believe engineering needs. It does need it. Marksman, does it need this? Not as much as engineering, and probably virulence, being that I don't play it. So I really hope, I really do, that all the players who do not play a sniper don't kind of sabotage this too much, because it's nice, but it's not great. Not for engineering, not for virulence. Marksmen, on the other hand, that's the thing which is causing the issues for marksmen. So if anything else, I can see people I don't know. Probably wrapped it on for far too long here, really. But it's kind of I've got all these scenarios going through my head as to how I can use those, and there's going to be situations where, yeah, okay, not that one, just being able to have a reset on these is going to be nice, but you're going to have to be damn sure you really do need to hit that button to press the reset, because you can only do it once every 3 minutes, at least as it is there. I can't see them decreasing it that much, and the problem, because that is so long, it's going to make this a must-have. So that could make it quite difficult to get a decent set of utilities in, especially with what they're doing with this. So yeah, I guess to finish this vid off rather, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this and what all the other classes are getting. They are definitely going and making mobility is their theme for buffs for 4.0s, and for snipers that is incredibly dangerous, because everybody is so much more mobile now than they were previously, because they've got immunities to a lot of our CC. We are still CC based. You increase mobility too much, and that's going to hurt snipers, no matter what. This, no matter what you can do here, it's still not going to stop us from getting focused. So, yeah. I'm just going to keep in mind that this isn't set in stone. There's a lot of time to go. I just hope my one main concern is, for God's sake, Bioware, do not make the same mistake you did last time. The main mistake is, especially with marksman is so dominant over the other two specs at the moment, is you've got to be very careful who you get into the beta to actually test this, because otherwise the only kind of player you're going to have are those who play marksman. Yes, you'll get marksman players, they'll probably test engineering and so forth, but you need people who know engineering. You need people who know virulence in order to test this particular skill with all of that. If you do not, engineering and virulence are going to have problems. So I really hope they do not have a completely closed beta, but I've got an awful feeling that's the way they're going to go. So if you find yourself getting invited to a closed beta, keep all 3 specs in mind, you know? Just don't go in there thinking with a marksman spec. Bearing in mind, I haven't actually said anything about a closed beta, it's just obviously that's what everybody is going to be interested now. Now that they've got some information, people are going to want to know, when's a beta, when's a beta. But anyway, I've gone on too much. That's my opinion. 30 minutes. Ooh. Yes. Keep sniping. Have fun. And I'll see you again sometime.